and welcome to Model Kit Beginner. Hope you guys are doing well. I'm doing very well, feeling just fine. And today we're gonna have a look at a bike. Yes, haven't looked at a bike for a long time, and it is the Suzuki RG XR27. It's a Barry Sheene edition. One of the reasons I bought it because I grew up at that time, and it is a 19 model. So that's quite something. It was just 10 minutes ago personally delivered by my drug dealer, Mr. Grumpy's Bazaar himself. He had all kinds of excuses lined up not to come in for a cup of coffee, which I will not forget about. That was very disappointing. But nevertheless, he bought the kits. That is obviously also very important. And we have a chance to look at one today. It is the Suzuki RG 500 XR27. So, but first of all, before we do look at the kit itself, let's have a quick look at the history of the kit. I'll see you there. And here we are with the Suzuki RG 500 XR27. This particular kit is a re-box. It's a reissue, you could really say, from 2021 roundabout. And if we look at the history, I have to fill in the box content. Somebody was very lazy here. Here we go, we will do that. And we have to upload instructions. But if we look at the original kit, is from Prota in 1981. Now, you will rightly say not a byword for quality, but, well, we will see that. It's Prota, obviously also Italian model maker, and he says here, telaio e sospensioni in metallo. And if you are Italian and you just cringed yourself into the ground, I apologize. My Italian, not very good at all. But what I can read out of this is that the suspension is made of metal. So that's interesting. This is the Will Hartog model. We also have the Virginio Ferrari model right over here. Also very nice, but obviously we have the one and only Barry Sheene scheme, which you see right over here. And whether the suspensio is in metallio, well, we will find out in a few minutes when we open the box. So that's about it. Apparently it's a 1981 kit, so that should set expectations for what we will find in the box. But you'll never know till you open the box, and we will do that right now. So here we are with the box of the Suzuki RG 500 XR27 from Italeri. As we can see here, it's a Herentine 1978 Barry Sheene's bike. Suzuki was just the bike to beat at the time, won the Constructors' Championship many years in a row. So having a side view, it gives you indication of what the decal sheet will look like, a little bit of the history right over here, a couple of different views of the bike. Here, not much to see on that side. And then here just a little bit more about model building. It tells you that the scale is 1:9, which I like my bikes a little bit bigger. And apparently it's for adult collectors, so yeah, that's me normally out of the picture, but here we are. Right, let's open up the box. It is closed well, but we managed. Here we go. Right. Now, we have, let's get that here in the camera view. We have the decals. Already got an idea what they more or less look like. Then we have the instruction sheet. Let's put that to one side because we're going to have a look at that first. As usual, we have some metallized parts, but they are not metal parts, just plated. We have some grey plastic right over here. We have some red plastic right over here. We have some tires and another round thing which probably belongs to the tires right over here. And we have a flap, a racing bike. Okay, right. Now, I'm not a bike specialist, as you will find out. Those of you who do not know me will find that out in a minute. And then we have another bag full of beautiful plastic. We have a bag with screws and nuts, springs, pipage of different forms, sizes. Here we go. That's very interesting. We have another bag which has just nuts in it. That's just nuts. Maybe that's what they meant with the metal. Yeah, it's the only metal that's in here are the screws and the springs and the nuts. Only metal I can see anyway. So, anyway, on this box it didn't say anything about metal. It was on the what were they called? It's, Protar. It was on the Protar box. Mentioned it in Italian. I might have well misunderstood that as well. Maybe it just says metal plated. Who knows? Anyway, here's the instruction sheet. Then it gives you tells you a little bit more about the bike, which is very, very nice. A bit more how to build a model. There are everything that is in the box. So all the sprues, rear tire, front tire. They still don't tell us what that is. And we have more sprues right over here. Pretty cool. Quite an array of parts, I must say. We have pipage, thin tube, we have large tube, we have 6 springs, we have 1 long spring. We will have a look at that, all of that in a minute. Then we have a centimeter scale here at the bottom. Then they start putting together the wheels first thing, all right. And then they show you how to do the montage of this particular part. This looks part of the engine right over here. But kind of gives you an idea that you need to put the nut in first before you put in the screws and blah, blah, blah. Right, then here we have more engine parts, so that looks quite intricate. Obviously, engine is a very important part of this particular bike. So, I have my hand all over it, rubbing it lovingly. So that gives you an idea what that looks like. Here is the frame. Couple of screw-in parts in that one. Pretty cool. Here is the chain, and as far as I can see, that is also plastic. There's an 11mm piece which you need to put in there. Right. Then we have the dials right over here. Black dials with glass over it. We have the water cooling system right over here. Then how everything, oh gee, this looks not uncomplicated. That's quite some bike. Here we go. So here it tells you how to get your stuff together, clamp it together, tape it together, how to construct your tank, and obviously how to do the painting. Very important indeed. Then more pipage right over here. It's not the same horrible silicone pipe they had on that Fiat C8. I was struggling with that one. Then we have the large tube, which obviously is coming from the water cooling right over here. We have the ignition piping, which is right over there. Then on this side, the exhaust then get on. We have handlebar and all the accoutrements which come onto the handlebar, all the switches, and so forth. No, and then we have the suspension, front suspension, which works with 2 springs, it appears. Quite something. Then gives us an idea where to put the Michelin decals. Oh, and here it looks like you have to cut springs over here. Oh, that's where that long spring comes in. You just cut as much as you need. Very interesting. And then what is he doing with the... Oh, that's how to flatten the spring on either side to make it fit. So they say use a razor blade. Anything flat piece of metal probably will do. And then you flip it over on a hard flat surface, and that is getting your springs into the right shape, the last link of them. Then we finally come to the rear tires right over here. This doesn't do. This is where you glue the chain right over here. Let's see phase 8. That's where those 10 centimeters come in. And gear lever right over here, I think. We are again at the tank. This is the tank. So what were we looking at here? Oh, it was the rear part. That was the tail. That wasn't the tank. I apologize. So that's the tail, obviously, where the seat goes, which I sold as a tank. No, that is the tank. Here you go. And how to detail that and how to color that. Then handlebar goes on right over here. No, that wasn't the handlebar. That's actually the struts for the front fender. Here we go. This is then obviously the fender ridge is very, very important, because you that's where most of the decals and the paintings and the stuff goes on, so that will keep you busy. Then it gives you some templates for the painting and then the decals as they go on. Get an optional stand, which I certainly will put together as well. Here is the very final assembly at step 33. Jeez, you will be exhausted by then. And then it gives you another idea again of the decalage, how to decal everything, how to paint everything. So that's actually very nice. That gives you a pretty good idea. Maybe we should get a bit closer here so you guys can see that in even more detail. Here we go. So that gives you an idea how that's gonna look. Where the decals go, decals numbered, and how the color scheme will be working. Let's push that up a little bit. Here you go. Here's the colors you're gonna use, not too many. Obviously red, the black, the gold, the silver, bit of aluminium and chrome, and that's it. Pretty cool. Doesn't look, I wouldn't call it a beginner's build by any stretch of imagination. Certainly will keep you busy. That's for sure. As next, we will have a quick look at the decals. Here we go. There's black and yellow mostly. So this means your base color, which you will put on, will be red. Some of it will be black as well. So these are all the decals. So obviously all the stripes, which we know, and then all the sponsors as well. Barry Sheene as well on here. Pretty cool. Actually looks very nice. And those 2021 Italeri decals should work just fine. place in the middle of the instruction sheet. That should do it. Then we have some plated pieces, which we will obviously have a go at. And I just had my knife here. And where did it go? Obviously, somewhere where it shouldn't have. Right. Even has der grüne Punkt on there. Oh, let's go up here. Even has der grüne Punkt on here, which is a German thing that you can actually recycle this plastic. Now let's go further down. I think that will work better. I won't be out of camera as much. Right. So here are the plated parts. The brake and clutch over here. Some other parts, and I'm telling you now already, from what I can see, these all have to be dechromed. They are all have seams, or most of them have seams on them. Yeah, there will be a big dechroming action going on. So chrome, don't even worry about the chrome plating, because you will have to plate it yourself for sure. Right. Now, let's have a look at these little parts right over here. Now, I'm not going to open this up. This is just a bag of nuts right over here. And here we have a bag of interesting parts. I open this up. Have a quick look what this is all about. Right, so there's silicone pipage, quite a bit of it. Here we go. There is the thick pipe for the cooling system. Then we have a bag full of lots of springs. We have a thin spring. There's thicker springs. So this will be springs, which, and then we have the this actually is a spring. This pipe over here is actually the spring. So that's a spring which you need to cut up and use as needed. Very, very interesting concept indeed. Otherwise, a couple of screws, a couple of nuts. The nuts don't just seem... Yeah, anyway. That's what that is. So, screwing and nutting will be required. And will be quite interesting indeed. Right. Tires. They are on this sprue right over here. Rear tire, front tire. Are they branded? There are some very shallow numbers on there. And there's a Michelin branding. So you better not touch those on the side with any kind of paper. In the middle, I would suggest, because otherwise they have a seam in the middle, which you don't want. But otherwise, careful with the size. The branding is there. Size of the tire, Michelin is there. It's probably to scale, to be quite honest, but it is very, very superficial. Then we have these parts, which we didn't look what they are for. Oh yeah, one is the chain. Okay, we have figured that out. And that obviously will be a flap, I would guess, from a former version. I don't think it goes anywhere else. Not that I can see. But you're welcome in the comment section to help me out and tell me exactly what that is. And what that is about. This is the chain here. Okay, so that makes now a lot more sense. So the chain is rubberized. And then we start with plastic, like with kind of plastic on sprues as we are used to it. Right. Here we go. Let's take it sprue by sprue. Here we have a very nice one. As much as I can say, engine parts. As far as I can see, yeah, there's the distributor where the pipage gets connected. So this looks all engine and ignition parts right over here. We have brakes, right over here, and obviously the fork assembly, a part of that you will find right over here. Brakes right over there. There is a sprocket, and then part of the frame and suspension over here. Then the big frame parts are right over here. All of this has seams, and so all of this needs good cleanup, very good cleanup. This, I don't even want to say what this is. Looks exhausting to me. Anyway, here, step. Otherwise, frame parts and plastic screws right over here. If we didn't have enough metal screws, we have some plastic screws as well. Pretty interesting. Right, let's back. Get here. We'll open this up. Right. Here we have clearly engine parts. Quite a bit of that. Block right over here. Gearbox, yes, right over there. Some interesting stuff indeed. That's as much as I'm prepared to say. Another sprocket right over here. Detail, okay-ish, I would say. 1981, don't forget, 1981. Right, we have a black sprue right over here. Now this looks more like exhaust, so who knows what the other stuff was. And something which has fallen off. Better put that in the box, maybe it is important. We have the radiator right over here, which is actually see-through, so that's pretty cool. Here we go. That's very nice. And other engine and suspension parts. This is as much as I'm prepared to say. But yeah, that should certainly build up very nicely if you know what you're doing. As I said, once again, not a beginner's kit. Here are the wheels, front wheel, rear wheel, in gold plastic. Necessary because we paint everything anyway. And then part of the ignition and vacuum system on the top of the sprue, and some very small dainty parts right over here, which looks like nuts, plastic nuts. Yeah. Then we have this particular one. Has fenders, shell if you want so, of the bike. Of the body, I guess. It should. Right. We have bodies right over here, side fenders. That all looks very clean. The tank, yeah, the tank right over here. And some side front fenders right there. No, that's actually rear fender. That's a rear part, which I classified as tank, not a tank. And some other beautiful body parts right over here. And all of it needs cleaning up, for sure. All of it has seams. Some of it has a very slight amount of flesh. You can hardly see it, but it certainly has seams. And some cleaning up will be required. This is not a seam right over here. This is just in the plastic, a swirl if you want so. So yeah, some of the stuff is swirls, but some of the stuff is very clearly seams. And it seems there's a bit of cleanup required, for sure. And then we have the glass part, which is basically the front window right over here, and then some covers for your light and your instruments, or maybe just only instruments. And that is it as far as the transparent parts are concerned. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is basically it. They didn't have lights, obviously, on those bikes because they didn't race at night. But yeah, the Suzuki RG XR27 from the fine folks over at Italeri. Let's go back upstairs and see what the final thoughts are on that one. See you there. And here we are, back upstairs with the Suzuki RG 500 XR27 Barry Sheene. There she is. It is, I'm telling you, it looks an awesome kit. Let's not beat around the bush here. From 1981, it looks an awesome kit. But if you're not into fiddly, this might not be for you. There are some very fiddly parts, plastic screws, plastic nuts right over there, washers, some metal parts in there, springs, which you need to cut and bend yourself. So if you're not into that kind of stuff, then maybe this is not for you. But otherwise, if you like and look forward to that kind of detail modeling, then I think it's a dream. It really is. And if you are like the Barry Sheene bike, or like the Suzuki's, or the bikes from the mid to end 70s era, 500cc, that was the king class. These were the big birds. And they raced certainly very, very bravely. So, if you like the bike, if you like the era, and if you don't mind to fiddle around with smaller parts, because that's what you consider to be part of modeling, and it certainly could be, then that's the kit for you. Absolutely. And would certainly recommend it. I know they are up right now. They are not overly expensive, and you will certainly have lots of fun building it. And that's about what I have to say about it. Thanks very much for popping in. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And all the best for you for the rest of the week. And greetings from Cape Town. Cheers.